All right, so since 2011, 104 players have been suspended from the NFL for drug-related offenses.
Do you want to introduce us?
So here are my sources that I'll be using. And my name is Jacob Treude, and I'm going to be going over the NFL drug testing policy and what I think is wrong with it, and how I believe that the problem can be solved. But first, let me introduce you, my audience.
Hi, I'm Kelsey.
Hi, I'm Lindley.
Hi, I'm Austin.
Alright, so like I said, I'm going to talk about the current system of drug testing policy and how the use of drugs is becoming a rising issue in the NFL, and then I'm going to talk about how I think it could be made better. So, first things first, Jamal Anderson was interviewed. He's a former NFL running back. He was interviewed about what he believes the usage was around. He actually was a user of marijuana when he was in the NFL, and he said that at the time he believed about 40% smoked just from all the people around him, and then now he predicts that, or he assumes that at least 60% of the NFL smokes. So you can tell that it's definitely been growing, and it's definitely an increasing issue. The current policy for drug testing, the NFL tests during or before the actual season. So they test between the months of April and August, but because most of the players are always going to be together at spring training, they try to do all of the testing in spring training so that they can just get it all done at once. Also, cost comes into play. They believe that it costs way too much to dispatch drug testers throughout the season to several different locations. To Dallas to test the Cowboys, or to Oakland to test the Oakland Raiders. It just costs too much to pay those people. So what that does is it provides an easy way out for those players who do illegal substances, because basically during spring training, the beginning of spring training, they'll get tested in April, and all they have to do is stay clean up until that point. And once they get tested, they've got 11 months. If they test positive, they have 11 months where they're not going to be tested, where they can do whatever substances they want, and they don't have to worry about it. So there's a first problem. Also, the current punishment, the second problem, it's very minor. If you test positive for illegal substances, you get put on a 90-day treatment program, and basically what they do is they will test you more often and make sure that you're not on illegal substances. If you aren't, which the majority of the people will pass after 90 days because they don't want to lose any money or get cut from a team, then it's just like somebody who passed it the first time. They don't get tested until the next April, so who's to say that they're not going to just start smoking right after they get off the program? There's no suspension for a first offense, and you're not ousted, so they're not going to tell anybody that you failed your drug test. It's basically between you and your organization. Aaron Hernandez, he's a convicted murderer, and at his murder trial, one of his best friends actually came out and said that he was a chain smoker, that he purchased 1 to 4 ounces a week from him, which that's quite a bit of marijuana to be smoking within 1 week. Yet he never failed a drug test. And why is that? It's because he was tested once in April, he passed, and then for the next 11 months he just smoked however much he wanted. So this is just one example of, I'm sure, many, given Jamal Anderson's testimony about 40% at his time and now 50 to 60%. So that just leaves a question on how effective is the test and the testing system if somebody like Aaron Hernandez, who is smoking 1 to 4 ounces a week, gets away with it and isn't suspended or anything. So this is a mission statement for the NFL. And the mission statement is to provide their fans, communities, and partners the highest quality sports and entertainment in the world, and to do so in a way that is consistent with their values. And their values are respect, integrity, responsibility to team, and resiliency. So you can kind of see that with their current rise in the drug problem, does that really create an environment that shows integrity within the NFL, and so that the fans can see it? It basically, it's a huge problem because they're not upholding their mission statement or their values. So currently, this is a separate problem, but human growth hormones, their policy for testing human growth hormones is that they randomly test 40 players a week throughout the entire NFL. And in the past 5 seasons, they've had less than 15 people test positive for human growth hormones. Yet in the past 5 seasons, they've had 104 people test positive for marijuana, plus the many more that go unscathed and don't get caught. And so what I think about this system is that testing 40 players randomly creates fear and anxiety because you have no idea if you're going to get tested or not, so you're going to have a less likely chance of using human growth hormones, or in this situation, other illegal substances like marijuana. And the good results prove that out of the 40 players a week for 16 weeks, and then in the playoffs they test 5 players per team. That shows within those 5 years, all those players that were tested, they've only had less than 15 positive results for human growth hormones. So I personally believe that this needs to be implemented for other illegal substances. And then you get to talking about the costs. They say that it costs too much to dispatch drug testers throughout the season, yet in the 2015 season, the NFL distributed $7.3 billion in revenue equally to all 32 teams from the 2014 season. So in 2014, the NFL raised $7.3 billion that they were distributing to teams, which they don't distribute all their money to teams, which means they had leftover money to spend on whatever they set aside. So in my opinion, they could easily pull some money from $7.3 billion and pay for drug testers in order to in order to uphold their mission statement of showing integrity to the fans of the community and their partners. So I personally don't think money would be an issue. Another thing is you have to look at their social status. Nowadays, professional sports, the players, we think of them so highly above us because they're paid multi-million, some even $1 billion to play a sport for our entertainment. But they're not above the average Joe. They're not above the law. So I personally believe, and I think anybody with common morals should understand that they should still have to be upheld to the same standard that we have, that you can't consume illegal substances and just get away with it. So I think they should be held to the same standard, and that they should have similar consequences. Drug possession, you get put in jail. NFL players will get put in jail, and then they'll get bailed out, and nothing will happen. And they get bailed out so easily because they have the money to do it. But an average person like me, if I was caught with drugs, I'd get a bail that I wouldn't be able to post, and then I'd be stuck in jail. So I definitely think they should be held to the same consequences as well. So in conclusion and summary, I spoke to you about the continuous rise in drug-related issues in the NFL. I told you about Jamal Anderson's testimony about how much he believes people smoke, and then Aaron Hernandez, how he got away with smoking so much, and then just the need for randomization in their testing system, creating fear and anxiety in the players so that they don't know when they're going to get tested, and they'll be less likely to consume illegal substances. Thank you. Boom.